You're right. Oh, wow. You're kidding me, right? Oh, you're bloody kidding me. Can't believe it. Oh, is that possible? No. Oh. Hi, guys. Sorry, I'm having a laugh here. Talking about human programming just now, and talking about clearly just the systems that our TikTok and Facebook are using are an absolute beautiful example. And I start the live and it says, redeem your promote voucher to get more views. Exactly the point which we mentioned earlier on the page. Anyway, there we are. As I say, it's just wow. Just a lack of acknowledgement or understanding of what reality is and what you are, who you truly are. This is still playing into separation and a delusion that something else creates your reality. That's not the fact at all. So this is what I'm saying. The systems out there, remember, understand, it's reflecting distortion, which is not truth. See, nothing out there is creating your reality whatsoever. Anyway, hello, lovely people. Who's that? Someone's flashing on. Who knows what that's about? So we wanted to share because this just came up. It was actually amusing, as you were saying, this programming. It started, there's two content creators. Hi, Thomas. How are you? Lovely to see you. They started appearing all of a sudden. What's his name? Gustat, the Gustat guy, which I just love. If you watch some of his interviews, his podcast, really nice guy, young man. Oh, I'm so glad. That's wonderful. It's lovely to see you again. I'm glad you're well. Really lovely to see you. So I watched this young man, and you could clearly see in his demeanor and his voice, you can read the energy. You can see he's a really, really nice guy, really compassionate, intelligent, kind, caring. He's a really nice person. But his content was like, okay, he's targeting. It doesn't matter, whatever if he knows what he's doing or not, he's perfectly doing this, because this is why it came to awareness here, to start explaining and sharing why this is. So they're the examples are out there for you to see. So he's been divinely guided without knowing to start creating this content, you see. And if people are not clicking, they think it's funny, it's amusing that he's ripping us off. No, he's showing the actual parrot behavior, monkey behavior, and monkey do, monkey say. This is what we were taught, literally. And it didn't click. And the other man who I really enjoy is funny, the one that teaches etiquette. Lovely guy. He's quite funny there. But exactly, that's what he was programmed with at his school, and he taught, and it's like instilled. And the reason why I'm going to share from a personal, I'll just give you some of these examples, but I'm going to give you many that you will see out there. And you can also then look in yourself and see where, wow, I'm like a robot here. Sorry, okay. Anyway, it's a distraction. I'll reply to comments. So don't comment right now, because otherwise, you lose the train or whatever it's channeling through. So I will look at comments afterwards. Let me just get this through, right? So I see these videos. This is what made me laugh. I saw the video of eating well, you can do it with pears as well. A little silver plate. It comes normally in a little silver plate, and your pear, your apple, and you get a little knife and fork, and you have to eat it without getting your hands or touching it. And this is what was programmed here. Same, all these things, and I'm laughing because this was my grand to the T. You see, but you understand, don't judge, because you know where it comes from. But you must understand how long this program has been going on, especially in the UK, because of the crowns. And we were taught, these are blue bloodlines, and if you have a title, then, you were the in crowd. And this is a class system. This was all completely delusional, all created. This is all mind, all man-made. None of it's true, none of it's real, because everything's the divine. But it was passed down but I'm just explaining where it comes from, because in those days, women weren't allowed to work. They didn't work. If you married into a good family, so if you're pretty, they try to educate them, or not educate them, but teach them, yes, so they could marry. And then the family lived, just nonsense. But that's how backwards this is, right? And the same with women didn't do this. Why? It was all based on monkey do, monkey say. So look at those were the blue bloods or the rich. So you're trying to imitate the crown, you see. So you're trying to behave like them. You see what I'm saying? It's just like chimpanzees. They copy you. It's amazing. So as you're waking up to the truth of what you are not limited to this human. You're not this human. And everything that the human is taken on is add-on to the self, is programming. So it keeps repeating. Literally, I mean, my family, all this nonsense, and it's gone on. People are still trying to, look at the crowd. They go and worship and watch and do these things, still taught worshipping them. They've got something we don't have. We must copy their behavior. We must do what they do. And his etiquette lessons are a perfect example. And only because you had to go through it and you were like, no, at that era, you came to break the cycle. Basically, those that started in the 60s, what they call the first wave, you came to break it. And we did. We rocked the boat. Absolutely. We decided we're not going to play along. We were the first generation called degenerates in the 60s, the awakened group, that's first little influx of awakening. We're called degenerate, hyperactive, this and that, rebels, whatever, all kinds of nonsense, because we didn't actually play along. And this is when they started tattooing, and because this was not done. You see, so understand all of these programs. Don't judge. This is all in society, all source, but just recognize that this is all rubbish we've taken on. How to eat, how to set your table, how many knives and forks, and what glasses you're going to drink. And people are still trying to imitate this to fit in. You see, you're sorting, I've got to behave like that to be loved or to be accepted or to be hired. You understand that it's functional. We've got to see it even from the bosses, from the higher levels. So we don't do this to our employees. They come into the office, he's got tattoos, so we're not going to employ him, because you don't want that in the golf course. Could you imagine if you had to wear a short sleeve shirt on the golf course and, oh my God, he's got a tattoo? Can't have that. You see, we've got to recognize where we have inherited bollocks. I'm going to call it straight. It is all bollocks, because none of it is true or real. And same with our school system, big time. You were taught how to behave. And most of us haven't recognized this, but especially in the older generation, it's very clear. Watch the older generation. They will not criticize or talk out about something. There's a lot of things they'll do. They behave, especially when it comes to the priest or certain things, you'll just see, because this is how very Victorian. Understand that. Their thing was very programmed. So have compassion where these things come from, because they go right into your ancestry, but understand it is dysfunctional. And this is why we had a lot of other fluid gender, because it's also nonsense, because you're a spirit. You got to, it's slowly trying to show you to drop the human identity, because you are not a male, you're not a female, you're not a high society, a low society, a royal blood, or any nonsense like this. You all have the bodies, simple as that. Everything else has been humanity has been slipping around for donkey's years. So the programming, when it comes to school, you can see that. I mentioned this now with this whole algorithm. Look at the system. This is why it's there. Because it's time humanity can see it now. It's coming up to the surface, right? It's so funny when you see it. You realize monkey do, monkey say. And this performative, you're taught to perform. Right? So sorry. You can't just see it there. And not understanding, especially if you're not awake, not understanding, I am the field. I am. That's it. That's all that's here. So whatever the one says and sees and perceives, beliefs, perception, thoughts, whatever, the field keeps reproducing. And this is why history keeps repeating itself. First of all, you harp on history. There's a thing, the etiquette. This has been going on for generations. That's how old that nonsense is. You've got to have this on the table, and that's the oyster fork. And I laugh because I grew up like that. My gran was like, wow, it was really bad, very toxic. It wasn't, it wasn't pleasant. Performance. And no one said, and no one was, was honest and truthful, authentic, and said, look, I don't feel like it, or no, because you didn't do that. If the Joneses expected you, you went, no matter what, things you see. So you were always taught not to be authentic, not to go with what you feel, right? I don't feel like it. I don't feel well. I don't want to go, or I don't want to perform. I don't want to be fake. You were taught to always, perform and not to be authentic, not to be true to the self, to doubt what you think, what you feel, not to say what you think and feel, big time. So all of this class system, and as I say, this etiquette structure is huge programming. Secondly, so is the Facebook and TikTok algorithms or things. So we recognize it, right? Here's the thing. Just now when I came on, I'm laughing because it said something about reclaim your live voucher, to get more views. So there's a voucher there. You can use it, but then we're going to charge you or something. You get some £10 of imaginary money, of course, as we know. We're just going to pretend it's £10 we are giving you now to use to promote your live and whatever. You see, there's a denial. Pay us to get views. Now, where does this come from? Like the whole system is set up. It's unbelievable, actually. You are taught to perform, to seek approval outside of yourself. You see this scene, I want to be heard, I want to become famous, I want to become an influencer or whatever. Where does it come from? Schooling. Big time. So if you didn't get, because your parents, it comes from generations. So if your parents, if you didn't do well at school, or you weren't, let's say, loved and, whatever. They didn't make a big fuss and you got gifts and you got all this, if you just, whatever, you didn't like something, whatever the story was. Same with school, right? Do this. This is how you must do it. See, this is how you get to the answer. Not that you get to if you got to the answer a different way, oh no, you fail because this is the way you're going to work the sum out. You see, you were taught how to do it. When you could perform, when you could go to the toilet even. No, you need the toilet. Oh, well, no, you just got to deny the body's needs and hold it in. And if you were thirsty, well, you can't drink because you can't drink in class. It still goes on. It's horrendous. This has been going on probably about 200 years, this nonsense. So we've got massive, in all ways you're taught to not recognize the body and your needs. You can't go to the toilet when you need to or want to. You can't drink in the class. You've got to do what we tell you. You've got to choose the subjects and things we tell you you see. Always externalizing that, that reality is being created by someone else. You need to do this. You need to study that. You need to get those marks. No, we don't think you should do that because, first of all, our school won't get good marks now. So-called, what's it called? Off-gem, whatever, because now they will talk you out of studying something that you're passionate about because we don't think you've got the marks. We don't think you will do well. So we don't want you to study that because we will lose off-gem marks, you see. And this is exactly what goes on in the British schools. I had a bit of a tiff with them, actually, with my daughter. I saw that. So there's a lot of manipulation. So this is going on now. You can see it reflected in TikTok, right? Do this now. This is a whole new system they took over. It's slowly implemented. You got to do this and do that and come live so many times, you see? We're telling you now how to be successful. And you've got to say this and you've got to make this out and you've got to pay us to promote your video. So in other words, if you don't pass, you're not going to get lives. You see, we're not going to promote you or you're not going to get many lives. So it's always teaching you to outsource your creation, your power to outsiders. Pay us, do this, don't do that. Seek approval. I was amazed when I came on here. It's like, well, your video, your TikTok, is like a child. It's so clear. It's so clear that it's laughable when you see it. So I go onto Facebook or something, and now they've started the same nonsense. And it's about I can't remember what it said. I went on there and it was saying something about, oh, your content now, the last story you did was 200 views. And if you do this, you can get more. Well done. So it's like school, you see. You absolutely see the person who's done this has not clicked. It's like being at school. Oh, well done. Guess what? You've now gotten 99 views and do this to get another 40 or we'll promote it or pay us, you see? So it's reinforcing the whole thing that they're not even realizing a program you're running from school. Oh, isn't that wonderful? You see? Someone's value, you see, same with, look at the statistics. That person's live did more that. So it keeps trying to tell you to compare yourself to other users, what their statistics are. Look how much their live did. You need to do this to copy them. You see, it's like school. Do what we say and you're going to do well or successful. Completely denying that you are the divine. This is your reality. You are the field and the field conforms to it. So unconsciously, they don't realize, well, that it's unconscious. There we are. It's obvious that we're not creating our reality. No, I'm the mind, I'm the body, whatever. Program. So I'm explaining so you can see the programming that the body minds are holding and break free from it. All of you. So you can actually be limitless and not limited. So humanity can really take off and not be stuck in this little bubble here. Get out of your bubble because you're not in a bubble. You're the actual entire reality. So that's what I say. Here you've got Facebook saying, oh, look, you did so. And I'm just laughing. And this is like bloody school, especially in the UK, very much. Now, dude, you could actually, it's almost patronizing, actually. When they go to the doctor, they treat you like children. Now, you sure you... Honestly, I found it very much here. It's just in this culture, it's very much like school. They treat the people like school, like children, that you don't know any better. And even the doctors' rooms where they speak to people, it's amazing. I was really quite surprised, actually. It's very much like a child. Tell you how to do, and maybe you should put the heater on as though you are completely an invalid. You can't think for yourself. You wouldn't think about your own common sense to what you need to do and what medicine you do. No. You see, ask the doctor. Don't think for yourself. See, that's what the school has taught you, not to do it. Same with they're trying to enforce it. Do what we say. Pay us and do this and promote that or whatever, to be completely. It's all programming, not to just to be and see what comes through. It's also planning. It's all mind. It's all programming. But it's to recognize. And in part of the shift, all of it is being revealed. So right now, this is being highlighted. This is why, unknowingly, Mr. Gustav Mann is out there. It was brilliant. So he is really identifying the absolute human programming held in the collective so we can break it. And there's cultural bias. Oh, wow, it's in depth. So we've got this etiquette thing, right? And people are very much older generation are very programmed with this. Younger generation also, parents, but I think most of it has been kind of dumped to make you aware. So look where you've got it, right? If I don't do this or wear that or dress like this, it's very here. The UK is a fantastic place for an example of it because it's very old, because they've been repeating themselves for hundreds of years, copying the king, because he's never changed. The way they dress, their ceremonies, their culture, the whole thing is completely programmed. The same ceremonies, the same dress, the same thing goes on and on and on and on. That is in a classical case of programming. The houses look like they did in 1800. They built exactly the same house. Amazing. Unbelievable, actually. It's just, wow. So and if you question it, people are like, no, we don't change anything. You see, it's fear of change. It's when you're really stuck in the mind and human identity and programming. So it's revealing to us now where this child in you, this human program, where you are taught to seek outside validation. I need mommy, daddy, the teacher to tell me I'm doing well, to grade me, to give me good marks. I'm going to pass. I'm going to be recognized. You see, it's a reflection. This is a mirror reality. It's not but not realizing the program you're holding here is telling you that I need other people to say, yes, well done, give me a gold star, recognize my achievements, how many lives, how much, whatever. See, outside validation. I'm not enough. I need their approval. I need to look like this, dress like that to fit into the crowd. Maybe this is why, luckily, when this one was young, it did not fit in the crowd. It was bullied like anything. And, it was like it celebrated its uniqueness. It celebrated its uniqueness. It was like, this didn't belong. It wasn't accepted into any crowd or clique. It just didn't. It was completely went the opposite direction to any grain that was there. It went there. Maybe that's why now, for this time, which is quite appropriate now because we can see it. So here's examples. I'm going to give you so many. You recognize it, especially those that are very much still, depends how much you've cleaned here. When you're still in the earlier stages of your awakening, you are still very much looking and following what's going on out there as though the world's a real place and, whatever. It's separate from you. So you're going to be listening to the news people. I hear them. Oh, my gosh, look what's going on. It's got nothing. It's all distortion. It's all, you see, this is what you're clearing. Because honestly, everything out there is coming from within you. This is why the whole process you're going through is this process of deprogramming everything. But whatever's the body's hold, it starts with the dense and it goes up and up. Now it's going to the collective, the subtle programming, the cultural programming. And this is a huge one. You've been taught how to behave, what we call performance. I'm calling it performance. It's when I said that the monkey see, monkey do, whatever. It's performance. You're taught to perform, literally. That cultural thing is absolute performance. We grew up with it, Wow. Wow, very much performance. So that was the whole thing. And you did this and you dressed like that and people go out literally. Because you see, this is where your fear is. Because it comes from, I'm telling you where it's coming from, schooling, especially from schooling, because that's where kids and the playground didn't accept you in their group. You can't come to my party. You see, because you didn't do that. You won't fit in. You won't bend to their way or, be submissive or whatever. To be bullied, to be dressed like that, to be fit into the, this whole thing to fit in. You're not here to fit in. Never were. So if you're still very much affected by the collective programming, you'll also be affected by the dress thing, the fashion, the this, the that. I mean, as I was saying, it was fascinating the other day when I was going somewhere and I saw these girls, school, and I was looking at her, I think, she's got to be a slipper on. I looked at it, some kind of slipper thing. But then I saw everyone's kind of wearing these slippers. Okay, it's fashion. And same with music. Watch. You'll notice how far you get out of it. The more you've done here, the less, it's just easier. It starts filtering, and you can recognize it out there. So like here, there's music going around. It was in the 90s. I remember that song. It was quite popular. Can't remember the band. It was a lady singer. And it's a lot of people. You see it's trending, especially in the yuppie, I'd say yuppie crowd. The wealthier crowd, I suppose, or whatever. It's on their playlist or music going in the background. Everyone say, watch, it's what I'm saying. It's so obvious to see. Everyone starts, you see. So depends how much you're in the mind. When you're still very much in the frequency of the mind, you will be very much tuned, you see, in the same frequency. You're tuned into all of that. So the fashion, what everyone else is wearing and doing, and the music and all that. Everyone's literally, when you start seeing it, you realize how programmed it is. When you look around you and everyone's wearing the same thing. Everyone's wearing this designer bag or that thing. And you're like, oh my gosh, wow. So start paying attention, not out there realizing, wow, okay, well, how much am I tuning in and not going in? Instead of tuning into the collective drama, which is just projection. Understand, everything is projection. You're not going to find anything out there if you're looking at the collective. So don't look at the major collective, whatever. Look here. This is why we're sharing this, so you can start seeing it. Okay, right. Have a look now. So maybe start with the personal thing. There's a good way to identify patterns, right? You're taught how a man must behave, how a lady must behave, what manners. And this is also big time cultural. You can't marry them because they're not of the same. I'm trying to think of an example now. Okay, here's one. There's biases everywhere. Just you've got to be aware of it. You've got to understand it's not coming from the self or from the soul. It's coming from out there. This is what you've got to recognize. Everything that's coming out from there is nothing that's held here is held from the divine. So in order for you to start creating a new reality, you've got to drop everything here. This is what it's all about, actually, is to deprogram the self, because when it becomes instant manifestation, you do not want to, be under your programming. Right. So when there's distortion in the programming, so you can't date them because they're not the same culture, not the same religion, not the same ethnic group, or not the same whatever. I think the new generation, you see, each generation has been breaking it. Tattoos, piercing, which is taboo in this generation when the parents are here. And then it's who you can marry, the races you can marry, the cultures. Still a lot of it goes on. This I'm saying, understand if it's older generation, don't pay attention to it. Just understand that's their programming, and if they threaten to disown you or not want to disinherit you, well, off they go. Off you go. Because remember, you create your reality. Everything comes from within. Same with the support, same with the money, everything. You, the field, supports you. You are the field. You see, so the money and everything will come from the self. Everything, all the support you need, everything you need will come from the self, comes from within. It's trusting the self. This is what you're learning to do. Not trying to seek it out there, not to perform, to be authentic. You see, to realize, no, look, there's some preferences you're going to have. There's preferences, but identify them. Separate the preferences from programming. You see, so what can I really drop here? Because if you're taught, no, like here, there's only preferences. So if the body mind has grown up and used to these things and likes these things, so you're going to have likes and dislikes, right? But also just identify that the body mind has got them. Some of them, you'd be surprised, you try something you've never tried, it's actually quite nice. But some programming is so strong they won't even, try something else. So look at your likes and dislikes. So let's say example here. It just is. It's as I say, here's the programming, right? It's a kind of a criteria that you would say, is what I'm saying. It's expected that if you're dating someone, that they're going to open the door and that sort of thing and walk first and open the car door, open the house door, about all these things, right? Also, certain places, certain food, certain places you wouldn't like to go to. This depends how you've grown up. Places you'll go to, places you'll hang out, things that you like. Behavior, watch out. As I'm saying, you're going to expect to be treated how you've learned, what you've seen. It's programming. So if there was a dysfunction in the home, you're going to not realizing you're going to copy that, you see. And if you expect all kinds of, so everyone's going to have their programming. It's to identify it, which is so important. Where it's not benefiting you, because it isn't, where it's clouding your perception and your vision. Because you'll meet some amazing people in your life, really, from all walks. I mean, the poorest to the wealthiest, and they all are, it's still the divine there. This is where you've got to recognize, but where you can see past it. But if their programming is still very intense, it's running the body-mind completely. When it's completely unawakened, they're completely under the programming, and you're running loops which are controlling you. The loops are just going around and round and round and round. I mean, there's a classic example, how many hundreds of years the same thing's been going on in the UK, the same behavior, the same, traditions and whatever. I mean, it's unbelievable. Do this because we've done it for hundreds of years, and we dress like that because oh, wow, it's just wow. We've got to recognize that we're hanging on to stuff that does not serve us. You want a new world, but you see, nothing can appear out there or change out there until it's changed here, literally. Everything. So you've got to recognize your cultural things where you're also being very programmed or affected by what others, in some cultures more than others. So, oh no, if we do that, oh, we're going to be shunned by the neighbors or by, people because you don't do that. And so you see, you are conforming or performing to please others. Huge programming. I can't do that because I'll be embarrassed. Everyone's going to look at me because my friends, what are they going to think, if they do this or I do that? How much is the program controlling you? Because that's all they are. So it's for you to identify what's running you. The soul, the self, the true self source wants to be free. And this is all it's about. This is what the whole awakening is about, is peeling the layers. So this is a huge amount of cultural and social programming. What do we expect from a date when we go out, how they behave, what we like, where do we preferences. Have a look at those, just interest sake. There's a lot of things like this person, this being, only because it's used to it. It's not a drinker really. Did that, years ago. Had its fun and when it was young and all that sort of thing. Luckily it didn't grow up around that. It's not a big thing. So here, it does not like pubs. It wouldn't go to a pub, just doesn't go, not interested. The smell alone puts you off. It stinks. It's old, stale. It stinks. I found that really the smell is, it just smells for me. It's going in there is like stale alcohol and smoke, and it just stinks. It's just, the energy and the smell is like, bleh. And it's huge addiction and programming, it's patterns. Because where something is running you, see, the whole thing is the whole idea for the self, it doesn't want to be under control of anything, to be free, limitless. So where something is controlling you, not the other way around. So is alcohol, you can't drop it, or it's, you can't go without it. Or let's say flexible, exactly. There's a cultural thing. You can't go there, or those people are, if you think a culture or a religion or a ethnic group is wrong or not, you're going to judge them by the way they eat or the way they dress or the way they behave. Because then we're not going to be able to see the person. First of all, there's judgment. You can see the program naturally, but you can see past the program and you understand, okay, that's because everything is the divine. That is the divine caught in huge programming. So we're all playing a role in releasing and pointing it out and showing, So at the moment, this is now the new thing that's surfacing and it's coming out. It's so clear. It's so funny, actually. So you can see. So this is what I say. This is so funny because this was all they tried. Not that you fell for too much of it, but yeah, it was installed here. Wow. So there's still a lot of preferences around, things like that. The bodies can eat most things there, but anyway, it is interesting if you reflect. So sometimes to reflect and see, oh, okay, how much of that is controlling? How much of it you don't feel comfortable stepping out of it? Then especially if you want to know if you're being controlled by it, are you able to be authentic? Are you able to walk out the house in something completely non-fashionable, non-acceptable, not normal, not whatever, not trendy, not da-da-da, and not give a toss? Feel free. Literally, feel. We're not saying fake it. Feel unaffected. And doesn't matter also who you interact with. Are you comfortable with the king and the peasant? You see, because that also reveals where you think you're identifying with either, where you feel judged or you feel uncomfortable. You see, you're trying to perform. I got to dress like that to impress or whatever else. Where you're not just seeing them. That's source. You're just seeing them. Doesn't matter what cloak they have, what title they have. You see past it. You see. So you can be in the company of a beggar or a king with no problem because you see them and you have compassion and you see, it's programming. It's not going to be, oh my gosh, That's why I say I laugh at it. It's hilarious. Even but you do, and you have love and compassion, especially when you realize it's controlling him. Absolutely running and loops. I mean, hundreds of years. Just wow, it's hilarious actually. So all these generations, we've seen the fashion even now, it came down to a knife and fork. That was just unheard of in the old days. I mean, the amount of settings and meals and courses you had was unbelievable. You had more than, you always had a 3-course meal anyway. That was the basic. So you had all these, and oh my goodness me. See how uncomplicated it's becoming? It's not for any reason. It's to free the soul. That's why. It's not because, oh, well, that's not right, or there's no judgment. It's to free you from it. So you are not bound, because you do not stick in one life, in one body, in one game. And the whole idea is, once you empty this, you will then experience reality as the divine, instant, which means as you intend or think of something, it will appear. Once you've cleaned up this, you're going to instantly manifest your reality. So the whole, mercifully, it is clearing this up as well. So if we want to recreate a new world and society, or free, limitless being, limitless humanity, we need to be free of our programs. Because especially as I say, so-called time speed up is not, it's manifestation. So as you clear up, less of this, your speed of light, instant. Your manifestations, literally, as they say, when this thing's gone, it renders. It is instant. You've seen it out the bubble. It's instant. Whatever you say and think and intend, literally, it's by saying. Now you can understand why you cannot be under control of the thought or the mind. Because everything that's gone into the human mind and thoughts are only programming. And it's clear to see when you go out there. Everyone's, as you say, it depends on their thing. Everyone's running around in a Nike or some other training leggings. What do you call them? Not leggings. Yeah, I think they're leggings. Sports, running pants. There. Everyone's wearing the same thing or the same trainers. I mean, it is so boring. And then you go to certain, everyone's wearing their bags. I don't even follow it. I don't even I've forgotten now the names of them. It's all got to have that. You've got to have this. The cars, everyone's got the same. It's like, oh my God. You say, how uncreative is it? Everyone's got the same cars. It's great for marketing, but that's what I'm saying. You see, when you are controlled, this is where you had mass consumers in marketing, because otherwise, watch out there. Everyone's got the same bikinis, the same clothes, the same this, the same that. I mean, like, oh my gosh. And we got piles of rubbish. No, you've got to have this bag and that fashion. You understand? There's no, how are you going to manifest a whole new, or just discover the unknown as the divine, right there and then. When you get to instant manifestation, what you think and see, it instantly is going to reflect. Mercifully, it's not right now. Could you just imagine what that's why. So as you go up, though, it starts speeding up. You start seeing your manifestations, as I say, and reflections much faster. So it's showing you. That's why I said it's actually divine grace, that it is cleaning up, purifying. People think it's dropped. No, if we didn't drop the patterns and programs so much, you see, it would be unpleasant when it's just going to render. It renders out there. We're going to create the same suffering, the same problems, the same patterns. So what you think are karma are the patterns, our ancestry. It's held, when you do the releasing, it's so clear. It's held in the ancestry of the body. It goes way back. So whatever body the one is inhabiting right now, because remember, it is all God, whether it's the king or whether it's the guy on the street, they're all running huge programs. And it's so clear to see sometimes. And you go, wow, it's like, wow, okay. So even here, this is why it brought up now. And you're thinking, for some reason, it started now reflecting on what your preferences are. And here it's like classical music. Going out to, what do you call those things? This is what I really enjoy doing. This is, for me, a good date is a nice day out. Would be going to a picnic, like can't even think of the name now, sorry. I hate those things when they disappear in your mind. Concert. So open air concert, orchestra, I love it. So going out where you've got an open air sort of situation, whether it's seated or not, on a hill where they've got a live orchestra, picnic and a glass of wine, and you're sitting on your blanket, and you've got fantastic orchestra, beautiful music playing, you've got a beautiful environment, botanical gardens, amazing. Now that is something like you see. So for some reason, I don't know why, I started bringing up these things, and I started seeing these videos. I was like, okay, yes, it's trying to show you. So you can start reflecting on how much of that. And then also, if you want to go out, you see, no, I won't sort of be around company that doesn't treat you like a lady, you know what I mean? That hasn't got manners and respect and open the door and gentle and polite and kind and compassionate and caring, you know? So there's just, well, anyway, it's just certain things you won't, you know, it's like, no thanks. And same food, I'm just not, you wouldn't catch this one sitting in a pub, unless it's a very rare occasion and you're on a trip somewhere and you pop in for something, but it's not a choice. It does not like pub meals or going to pub, you know, it's just not, it's not a preference here. It's not something you would consider. So there's so many things, but you could go sit on a floor in a tribe and eat gagali with your hands, no problem. See, there's things you can do. It depends where you are. It's just different things. Where others, I mean, going to a big hotel wouldn't appeal here at all. These big resorts or these, you know, group tours, like they have these buses and everyone goes on a holiday. Oh my good grief. That is something, personally, this being would not be interested, never has. It goes for the most isolated holiday resort place. You can go snorkel, nature, dive. I mean, I'd rather go over to, say, Colombia and go look at that man that has his incredible orchid collection, or some photographer that follows these rare birds in the jungle. You know, you know, pay him to take you around and you can see the most amazing birds. But going to, Ibiza or there's somewhere in Spain where everyone goes to. I mean, I couldn't think of anything worse. But that's just here. Do you understand? It's because this was not how you grew up, it just loves nature always. But a lot of people, it's the dream holiday. Every holiday is off to some party, some, you know, whatever. But that's what I'm saying. We got to look and reflect and also see where it's bias, where we're going to judge. So there's, as I say, a preference, but I don't have an issue with it. It's just not your thing. But there's no judgment and there's no dislike of people's behavior. It's just seeing, okay, that's a preference. Off they go and do it. But we got to recognize where, as I say, where the program is, all of it actually, is controlling or running it. And to let go and just allow and see. Because if we let go into the unknown, you'll be surprised, as I'm saying. You'll be very much surprised. I can now eat all kinds of things. Huge amount. You've eaten, you know, you've been to so many countries without expectations and preferences or anything, just an open mind. You have no clue what you're going on to, no, oh, well, this and that, looking it up, just went there. And it's the best thing ever, because then you are open and you arrive in a country with no expectations and limitations and preset things, and just to, okay, let's see and it's amazing. Because then you really are going there with an open mind and you experience, and there's no, you know, where a lot of, I see programmed. For instance, here, this one spent 3 months in Paris. So before I went, I had lots of people telling me, oh my goodness, no, the French are rude, they're this, they're that, they're da, same thing. People that aren't used to traveling have a lot, this is all programming. What they were taught, and hugely England, because England had this, you know, as I'm saying, it's gone back for generations. Oh, the French, because it's gone, as I say, generational programming and nonsense. It's all being taught, not experienced, not learned, not with open mind, and let's see. It's a box. These are this culture. This is how they behave, which is so not true. So I went there. And of course, because you're not like that, no problem. I didn't go in there, oh yeah, the French are. You see, because it's manifestation, literally. And there was no thing, oh, the French do this and they don't do that. And I found them extremely polite because you had an interest in their culture, not judging, and no interest in seeing things and the sights and where to go and what to eat. And every day it was out. And I really had a lot of help. People were so helpful, so nice, so friendly and polite. The complete opposite, actually, to what you were told by others. Not that you listen, but, you know, it's because, exactly, you understand. We got to release that because we didn't realize we are then if you're pre-programmed and pre-coded, the feel, because you are it, that's what you're going to perceive and think, you see. So lucky you've done all kinds of things. I mean, well, yeah. So have a look out there where your cultural programming is, especially in your countries where you're told these are not right, and this is how you've got to behave, and you've got to wear that, and you've got to do this, and you've got to bend so many times, and women can't dress like that, and well, huge things. Women can't wear that. Men shouldn't do this. Very much gender, you see. We are a lot, and there isn't any, because you are source. That's it. You don't have a set gender, a set thing. Yes, we're grown up and the bodies are used to their food and their culture, but we've got to recognize it. As long as where is it sort of making me, where am I judging or bias because of it, you see? Someone comes in, like I'm saying, especially here, and they're wearing all, gosh, I can't even think of the name. I've got lots of them actually, because I was over there in the Middle East plenty. Traditional outfits, covered yourself. I even have some of that completely cover. Exactly. I had all kinds of outfits, depends on where I was staying or working or, wherever, hanging out for a while. So you really adapted. But that's what I'm saying, but you could see where there was bias and judgment. You see that other huge programming. Some cultures are taught that they are special. They're chosen, they're special. It's absolute nonsense. We really got to start recognizing this. There is no chosen, there's no class. This is all absolute programming. And it comes from serious ancestry where there's a class structure, higher, better, hierarchy. King, queen, whatever, and then royal blood and this one, and especially on, this title story. I mean, that we're talking about goes back hundreds of years, people. Absolute nonsense. And there's chosen people, and there's this, and there's that. Everyone is the divine. You're waking up to it. Every single one and every single being is the divine at a different part of their awakening, a different stage in their, experience. That's all. Some are at a very dense experience, absolutely sort of going through the basics and whatever, programming. And some are higher up, on it. That's all. But it is all the divine. So how can there be class, hierarchy, royal blood or any of this nonsense, and chosen ones and not chosen ones and bad ones and this? It's absolute nonsense. This is why we can actually recognize that the bodies, you are the divine, you are soul. You are not the body, the history, or the ancestry. This is what you've come to release and recognize. Our ancestry and history and this and that, and they did, whatever, Absolute nonsense. Other. There is no other. Those are reflections. Only thing the thing is reflecting, the collective, subtle, bias, programming, racism, that is been ingrained. And some of it's very subtle. We have to recognize it. All right. So here is a classic example if you're not used to it. So growing up with that Victorian upbringing, laughably, back in the 60s, you having to eat and you could never put your elbows on the table and whatever, long past all that stuff anyway. But so that's how you ate and everything you do, Don't do that anymore. Anyway, we really couldn't be bothered. But that was huge programming, right? So I remember going over, I was in a country, it doesn't matter where it was, and everybody within where I was in this situation were all Americans. And very different sort of story with the food and everything. You still struggle. If you're not used to eating certain things, you struggle how to eat them. And it was the first time you were seeing, gosh, everyone doesn't eat like that. Okay, Africa is used to it in other places, but this was different. So where everyone eats with like a fork and it was very different. They don't eat like the British at all. So they eat with a fork and they kind of scoop and stab and swoop it up like that guy was actually saying. It's hilarious. So that was like, oh, wow, okay, you see. But there's no, here, there wasn't like, oh no. It wasn't a thing like, oh, no, I don't like that. I wouldn't, consider that person. You see, there's a recognition, oh, okay, wow, that's different. Complete different etiquette and way of eating. But that's what I'm saying. When you've got, you got to recognize it when you feel any sort of judgment or tension or resistance. Even here, watch it, notice that. No. Where you see any of that arise, then you know, wow, okay, that's when you can tell there's a pattern held in the body mind. So watch how you feel subtly uncomfortable, judgmental, irritated, fearful, worried about other species. Then you're really in it. There's a big program running here. All right. So if you look at them and feel, no, I don't want to do this, like whatever, no, I can't hang out with that, or I'm not going to be seen with them, or, whatever. That's programming patterns. And it's you holding loops when you think, okay, they are this, or they are that, massive. So we really got to understand all beings on the planet, because you're coming out of the dark ages, are running programs, biases, and all directions. Judgment, racism, nonsense, whatever. I mean, I've seen it plenty. Thank goodness, because you've traveled. You've seen a lot of it. Well, and all kinds and all directions. Recognize it so you can get rid of it, okay? Because nothing, as I try and say, see everything, all beings is empty, because that is the truth. So try, walk around and visualize, you look here, that nothing's in the body, literally. And this is, you couldn't get more true if you tried. Nothing's in there. They're empty. What is actually inside that thing is a pure program. Absolutely. All right. And this is what you are learning to drop. So as you go up, you eventually get to the mind, where the consciousness will focus mainly on the mind, and it will really focus on that. It will focus on the habits, patterns, and then, as I said, the subconscious, the fears, the this and that, the thoughts, programming patterns like these. Now it's going into the more subtle things. So, as I say, the etiquette, the manners, the behavior, the do's, the don'ts, oh my gosh, if I don't wear that and can't say this, and this is a new song, how much are you influenced? Then you can tell how much, how deep you, but don't judge yourself either. That's just where you are on the journey. So are you influenced by, how much are you also paying attention? How much are you living by the outside? By what's the fashion is, by what, how much is the outside running you? Because what you're not realizing that is your projection, not the other way around. You're supposed to flip the thing. So you are, then this is where you're going, have control of your projection. You are completely, which everybody wants, to complete instant manifestation. And I'm not joking about that, instant manifestation. Reality instantly renders. This is where you are going, and this is why it is cleaning up. Thank goodness. You're right. So you don't want to then, manifest anything that's not. This is why it's a refining process. So you're not going to do any harm to other, which is the self, any. It's just an appearance, but it's all one field. It's going to appear as Joe, Jane, John, Mary. So as a society, so-called human collective, we are being made aware of this. Here's what I'm telling you. Cultural. So a lot of places, all countries, especially older, very much more settled in their ways, old, established, like England, very established society. Oh my God, my gran as well. Then it all came to title, because this is the nonsense programming. Everyone was, okay, you got to look up, be like the Joneses, you see, look at them. I'm saying performance, massive performance. And you really were taught that. You taught always, the school, the teacher, the mother, make my parents happy. My dad was a doctor, I've got to be a doctor. I've got to follow the family. How much of that? Notice all of this. How do you feel about what you want to do, what you want to study? Who is interpreting? Are your parents telling you what you should do? Are you doing it because my dad, everyone does, I've got to be, these are is school, this is what you should be studying. Even now, this is what you should be doing for the future. It's already people don't realize that the society is trying to reprogram you. Now you almost do this and be online and be content creators and do this and do AI. You see, where again, is there denial that I am the divine, I am the creator? Where are you allowing society and now to tell you, to reprogram you, what you should be eating, what you should be watching, what you should be doing, what you should be learning, what you should be studying? You see, there's no should. You're literally in your own bubble, no joke. So the world is going to, it's your bubble. Not everyone is going to have the same even experience or thing. Not as soon it's going to completely vanish. This is where you're going. You won't be a world out there. There's instant field manifesting. So anyway. But for now, you're going to have your own little bubble you're going to experience. So watch the programming now going on as well to reprogram humanity in this, or do this, follow that, No. There's still not acceptance. There's no physical, nothing out there. It's all being rendered through the divine. So the whole idea is to let go of it all. So why? Because it breaks the patterns. You see, and loops, all of them. If you let go of it all, then the field is completely free to create completely new. So if we don't let go of it all, guess what? The field is going to keep manifesting something. This is where there's a thing you can see where the control again is. You see, to manage where the, let's say, powers that be, authorities are still trying to manage and control, not understanding again, still to a level they're not getting it. So we got to try and steer them. Okay, let's try and get them to all do this and all do that and all. This is the future. You got to learn this. And you see, now at school you were told you got to do plumbing or this and that. And now, now you got to do IT or you got to do this. You see, no, you're the divine. You're going to do whatever the divine wants to manifest, not the program or programming or expectations of other. There isn't. Because then there's a denial that I am alone here, literally. So let the divine, not others, and society again trying to reprogram you. Let the divine clean up. Doesn't want, because that's the whole point. And it can reset and restructure. Not so-and-so or this coach or that leader or that whatever. There's many coaches out there. You see, still you're swapping one for another. You see, whether I'm trying to think of the word. It's like a dependency. You see, you don't want to let go. You're still then needing someone else. You're still you're not willing to accept the power that you are the divine. So then still hanging on. I want a president, or I want a teacher, or I want the doctor, or I want somebody else to kind of be my daddy or be my authority, because you've been taught. I'm sorry, but this is showing you where it comes from. You've been taught mommy, daddy, or teacher will tell you how to live your life. Is to break that, and that you are the divine. It doesn't want mommy, daddy. It doesn't need mommy or daddy. You are the actual existence itself and creator. So you are waking up out of this sleeping phase of being a child and sort of stepping and letting go of your strings. You see? Say, no, well, I still want to listen. I need someone else to tell me what to do, because that's how you've been so trained. You see, but there isn't anybody else. So where you're listening to anything out there where it's not telling you, where it's telling you you're still a human body and you're relying on the DNA or something, no, you're not. You are a spirit. Has power over the human body and the DNA, not the other way around. The DNA and human body does not manifest or predict your thing. It's consciousness. It comes from consciousness. Consciousness has power over the body and DNA and the body. Not the other way. Your DNA and cellular structure and body does not have power over the consciousness. Consciousness changes it. Because it's a pattern. This is all it is. These are patterns. It's not actually a physical body. It represents patterns of energy. As Jason Pageant, it's a spin. The DNA represents that. There's no physical body here. So where you're still listening to others saying the physical body has control, or where, let's say, you're being coached or guided how to do, what the future is going to be, and this is what you should be learning and studying and doing. That's unconscious again, you see. You got to step back again. No, I am is all that exists. That is it. There's no separate from the field. But this is part of the process. All right, and we've been guided now to, woo. All right, so there we are. We're sharing, just illuminating where these patterns are hugely embedded in the collective consciousness. Okay, because it's just patterning. It's come down for generations and centuries. Oh my goodness me, well, very much. So it depends. I'm highlighting it here to break free from where you've got, also this is where the whole country border nonsense comes from. And they are different. But if you take away the mind, have a